Vroom, vroom. Well, the clue is in the name, isn't it, really? It's a midget racing car. This is the bottom of the pattern, but the reason I haven't glued the top on is because it's easier to do it in bits. But also we can show you this. That is where it'll go. Obviously we'll make a new one of these plates and there will be bolts going through there, and then obviously it'll come along. That will go on there. And that will go on there.
And a candle on the top?
Yeah. And then obviously the gearbox will bolt on there, there'll be a hole through there, and then here somewhere will be the clutch forks, but we won't put anything on the pattern because we'll just literally drill a hole in there, stick a bar through, weld it round, cut it off in the middle so that we can get the actuation of the clutch, and that'll be it. I mean, the whole thing, once we've got a brand new bit of metal, as you can see, I've made it as thin as I can. You know, obviously you've got to be able to pour metal in, but we don't have to weigh a ton.
Yeah.
So that will go. And then if we have to modify, I mean, let's face it, we could chop that off completely and put a plate on there and weld it round.
Yeah.
It just gives us a start that we haven't got to fabricate the whole thing. But I think it'll be quite good. I think we'll have a clutch pedal there. Well, obviously, we might have to modify the body a bit, just a little bit, to give us a bit of room with the old feet, you know,
yeah.
with the clutch and the brake. But I think that's it.
There's a comment on one of your videos, and it's saying that they used to have a hand clutch.
Yeah, yeah.
So I need to read all the comments.
Yeah.
Another one saying that you're making it into a death trap.
Right, well, we've made this out of ply. The ply's all right. But obviously, imagine machining that, it's all lumpty bumpty a little bit because one bit of ply is hard and the next bit's a bit soft. So what I've done is I've stuck a layer of body filler. And I'm going to make sure it's easy to pull it out the mould. Because what they'll do, they'll lay that down on the floor. Oh, not necessarily on the floor. They'll put a moulding box around that, and then they'll fill it full of sand, beat it all down, then they turn the whole thing with the box over like that, and then they put another box on top of there, and then they'll fill that up with sand. So it's got to come out nicely, or else it will just all fall to bits. But then again, in modern day, very often they don't use sand like they used to when I was around. They use the CO2 stuff where they inject it with a bit of gas and it makes it like concrete, so that, you know, you can do all sorts of things that you couldn't do in the old days. But anyway, so I'm just smoothing it off really, and then I shall paint it like that with the proper pattern paint and rub it down, a couple of coats, and that's it. Luckily, Timothy's got them doing a job for him and they're delivering it this week. So if I get this done, we can give it to them when they come to bring Timothy's stuff. So, and then hopefully I'll say to them, oh, we really want it in a rush, and hopefully we'll get it done a bit lively. So that's that. So, so the next thing we've got to do is order the piece of metal to make the flywheel out of. EN19, I think it is. And then obviously I'll jump and set 2 to make the flywheel. And then we've got to also sort this out, because that is where the oil seal goes, and we want to move all that in a little bit to give us plenty of room for the flywheel and the release mechanism for the clutch. So whether we'll modify that, but another thing was, if we make that a bit bigger, if we got a bit of metal a bit bigger, we could then make a register for that. So then we can machine a slight register in that. This will be on the car like that. And then the outside of that, which is nicely registered there, inside the bit of alley. So that registers on the bit of alley, and then that, if it was bigger, could register on there, and then it would mean that all of that was absolutely in line, which it's got to be, because if it's not, it'll jump out of gear. So that's another little angle. But the next thing really is, eventually we'll take the engine out and we'll start looking at it, you know, not in the chassis, so we can design where the bits are going to go, you know. So that's the next move. But at the moment, we're getting ready for Bewley, because, you know, I always take a bit of stuff to Bewley, because I always see something I'd like to buy, and if you sold some of your stuff and you can use the money what you sold the stuff for, it always feels a lot better. So very often I come away with more stuff than I went with. Last year I sold my spare Hall & Scott engine, because I then had another one and don't need 2 spares. So I don't know what I'm taking exactly. But anyway, that's where we're getting ready. So John's getting on it, and young Zach here is going to help me move all the stuff, because there's a lot of pushing and shoving, and, you know, to take the stuff to Bewley. Ah.
You've broken it?
No. I just seen you.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd explain what we're doing. Right.
Is this a piece of artwork?
No. This is a bit of, luckily, alley that we had in amongst the scrap. Dead the right thickness. This is the bit that goes on there.
Okay.
And registers on them screws.
Okay.
And that goes on with the oil seal. We're going to make a new one of them. And we're going to get the oil seal obviously in the right place. But everything's got to register on that centre. So when the gearbox is in, that's got to be dead in line. So everything, so that outside diameter there is where that registers.
Okay.
So the new one, which is going to be this one, will go on there, and that is going to get machined out so that it registers in exactly the same place as that. And then,
is it the same thickness?
Yeah, same thickness. And then that, which
Oh,
is
you
going to,
painted it.
yeah, which is going to cover our clutch, and also the gearbox is going to bolt to there, and obviously the thing in there is for work the clutch. So there's no good of having that, because obviously it's not big enough. So this is going to be the new one that will fit on there like that. And then what we do, when
And that's just the template, the wooden thing.
No, this is the pattern.
The pattern, yeah.
That's going to be made in aluminium.
Okay.
Right. So that is going to have to centre. So what we're going to do, we're going to make this bigger, so that when that goes on, like that, that will have a machine bit in there, where the outside of this, when it's bigger, so that will centre on the outside of that. So that centres on the main bearing, so that's dead in the right place, and then that's going to be made bigger, and then this will have a register turned in it, and that will centralise that. So that will be dead centre to that. And that's how that's going to work. And then this will get machined.
So you get that sent off to made in aluminium?
Yes. And then we can machine this, and then what we do, we machine the outside of that and get that dead square to this. That will get machined off. And then we put the whole thing in the lathe and get the centre there. I'm going to leave that, because when the bloke moulds it, he moulds it, and he'll have a thing to jam in there to lift it off.
Oh, okay.
So he'll have a stake like this. And then what he'll do, he'll put that in there.
Okay.
Something like that. And then what he'll do, he'll go like that, like that, like that, and like that. And then that will leave a little bit of clearance, so when they come to lift it out.
Okay.
So that's why there's no point in doing that, filling that up, because he'll have to do it anyway.
Okay.
So when it's in the mould the other way, like that, he'll put that in there, and he'll tap it again.
Yeah.
And then he'll lift that whole lot out.
Yeah.
And then what they'll do, they'll have a runner and a riser. So they might go in there, they'll dig a channel there, and they'll have a tapered bit of metal there where they'll pour the metal in. And then they'll have a riser somewhere, and that'll probably be this side. Or they might even run it into there and rise it there. So they have a channel down here, in the mould this is, cut into there, and then this side here, they'll have a thing coming up like that. So they pour the metal in there, it runs in there, runs all round, and then comes up there, and they know it's full then, and then when it's all over, they just get a saw and they cut that off, and then they cut that off, and then they give it to us. So then, we're hoping, well, we're not hoping, we're confident, that this, obviously, we're going to make a new flywheel. So, this is the bodged up flywheel. That goes on there, and then we reckon that this, we'll have to machine a lump off of there, but that'll have to go right tight up against there. Yeah, go tight up against there. And then there's a thing that goes on there which will bolt to the aluminium thing, and then obviously on there there's a gear to start the car.
Okay. And where did you get that from?
This has come from Wasp starter motors. He's lent us this.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't want to chop a bit off it then.
Oh no, we won't touch this one. But, you know, he knows us ever so well, and he knows we're not going to, you know, run away with it. So that's it. So the next step is to make a new flywheel and get some metal to make that. Get a nice high-speed oil seal that will fit on there. So then we make a new one of them, because this is all moved in a bit. This all sticks out too far. Nice oil seal on there. So obviously, the next thing we'll have to check, when we take the engine to bits, we've got to check that it'll take a thrust, because obviously we'll be pushing on the clutch. So the centre main, there's a very good chance the centre main will have a thing on it, but if not, well, it's going to get even more clever. But that's got to be able to take a thrust and be able to push the clutch out. So that's that. That's the clutch we'll use. And then what we've got to do, we've got to see if we can get an old Model A clutch, so that boss will have the right splines to match up with the gearbox. If we can't, then what we do, we turn a blank up and we take it to the people who have Sparker Road in, and they will Sparker Road a suitable in there to go on the Model A. So there's still a little bit to do, but at this stage we don't really want to take the engine to bits, because we want to use it as a mock-up. In America, they make a V8 exactly like a Chevy or whatever in fiberglass, so you can pick it up and put it in the car. But we haven't got a fiberglass Offy engine, so we're going to have to use this.
Okay.
So we will take it to bits, and when we take the bits, we'll show you it all in bits. Right, so this is the main torque tube where the drive shaft goes in, and as it happens, it's got a brand new shaft. Now, if we have to shorten this down, that goes on there, and that sliding makes the difference between the radius of this and the radius of that. So if the radiuses are slightly different, as the axle goes up and down, that'll move fractionally. So if we have to shorten it, we'll shorten it this end. We'll take that weld off, move that down and weld it round. Okay. If we have to shorten it. But then if we do have to shorten it, this lines are going to have to get a bit longer. So we might have to get a cutter, and we probably could do that in our milling machine with the with the dividing head. This is a dividing head, so what happens is that goes in the machine, and then you turn that handle and it'll move it exactly to the next one, and then exactly to the next one. So I don't know whether we shorten this end or we shorten that end. But at some stage, if we have to shorten the torque tube, we'll have to shorten this. But it's obviously brand new. It looks absolutely mint. So that's it really. So until we get the casting back, we're sort of snooking a little bit. We don't really want to take the engine to bits. We don't really want to take that to bits because we want to be able to fit the clutch pedal, the brake pedal, and the accelerator pedal.
And have you got pedals lined up?
No,
Okay.
no. Well, that's all decisions.
Right, another nothing cut.
Yeah, I would say.
What are we doing here?
Well, we're machining, see that there? That's going to be the register.
Okay.
Get it all dead in the centre and everything. And luckily, we managed to borrow this great big lovely boring tool from We've just put that on, but we haven't put a cut on it. We've just done a cut, and now we're going through again without a thing, and it still takes like a whisker off. And that's
It just smooths it off.
no, yeah, well, it just takes a
See
nothing.
that there tool?
Yeah.
As it goes down,
Yeah.
it takes
Oh, I
off
see.
there, so it makes the hole bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, you take a cut and then you take another cut and you don't change it at all, and it takes a whisker more off, and that whisker is enough to make it spot on. But I still think it might, because it's a bit warm, you see, so that would have expanded. So when it all cools down, it might be a drama. So perhaps another whisker of a cut.
I think. I'd say that is the distortion in there, you know.
Could be, but you don't
I
want
can
it.
feel a lip there. So I could put that in the lathe and give that a rub with the emery cloth.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does mean if we made a centre up for that, we could put that on and actually fit that to the engine.
Yes, yeah, because then we can drill them holes, can't we? We want some countersunk bolts.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a try. That feels like it could be bigger at the bottom than it is at the top.
Could be.
Yeah, that feels right. It's going to make the other one anyway. Perfect.
That fit.
See, so then that's dead in the middle, and then when we put our gearbox on, we're going to make that much bigger, so that when we put the gearbox on, we cut a groove in the gearbox, and that will register about here somewhere. So that's registered on the main bearing. This is registered on that, and then the casting will be registered on the edge of that. So it's all machined round, so it should be dead spot on.
Well, let's see, hey?
Well, yeah. Right, that's it, folks. That's done. So all you've got to do now is wait for the man who's going to bring some castings for Timothy, give it to him, and hopefully within no time we'll have it back and we can really get on. But we've got plenty to do.
Oh, it doesn't look very spacious.
No problem, Susie. We're trying to think how we can do it. There's no room for your legs, but there was no room for your legs previously.
Yeah.
I mean, how they won a 100-mile race, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just a very short person.
Well, I doubt it. I don't think there's anybody that short in America, are they?
No.
They're all big. I think we ought to slip that seat in, you know, John.
Mm-hmm.
Make yourself even more squashed.
Well, exactly. We've got to, you know, you can't be able to drive it in the end. That's the final goal, isn't it? To be able to get in it and drive it. But the floor has a thing that you put your heel in previously.
Oh, for a bit of extra space.
Well, no, I think it's to stop your foot going back.
I'll tell you what, you'd be nice and warm in there anyway. You've got to think of the positives.
Yeah, think the engine's red hot as well. Don't you?
Cozy, isn't it?
Is it snug?
Good job I can bend my legs, isn't it?
Okay.
The only thing we can say is we've got to make it work, haven't we? Because otherwise all the work we've done is scrap. But I don't think it was more comfortable anyway, because if you imagine that engine back there, even that in-out box would be in the way.
So that's with the floor on.
Yeah, look, I can't get my hand in there.
Oh, well, you like a challenge.
No, yeah, no worry, we're going to make it work.
Now what are you up to?
Well, we're going to take it completely to pieces now because we've decided what we're going to do. You know, we've got to move the engine forward. So we're going to, you know, probably give it a blast and have a good look at it. And then we can assess. You know, we're undoubtedly going to have to put it back together again and mock it up.
Not much of it, is there?
No, it's not exactly heavy, is it? You imagine just after the war in 1946, old Curtis couldn't make enough of these, and Offenhauser couldn't make the engines fast enough. In fact, Lee Francis experimented with their little high camshaft engine, and they made a batch of Speedway engines. I actually had one once in a car, and they took one to America and it was quite successful, but they never sold any of them much, I think. I think they sold some to Australia. They obviously all went in the end. They had gear-driven cams, special cams obviously. Dry sump, yeah, it was dry sump. So it was a good engine really. It's in the Skelly car that I used to own, and it's down there actually. It is for sale, the Skelly car, and that's got a Speedway engine. Yeah, so we're going to cut that off and move that and that and that, and then we're going to make our mind up what else to do. Right, so we've taken that off. Look, old John's ground it down, lovely. Not quite finished that one yet. So, and the good thing is, it's a thick old bit of tube. It's not like a Lotus. If that was a Lotus, that'd be 18 gauge. So there you are, it's nearly cleaned up. Feels like it's had a bit of a bump there at some stage because there's a bit of a dent there, but we ain't worried about that. So there we are. So that's the start of what we're doing there. And then, you know, we're going to come to a stop a little bit because we need a bit of alley for making that thing. We've made the flywheel, that's done. And then we've got to wait for the pattern to come back. So at the end of the month, we're supposed to be picking up the sebring, aren't we, Susie, from the dippers?
Yep.
So we might, you know, do a little bit on that and give a bit of a rest on this one, but we'll see. What do you think, Susie?
It's a bit basic, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you could build this in your shed if you had to. And don't forget, it's all very well all this carbon fibre and lightweight and everything. But I tell you what, I think I'd rather watch a midget race than watch a Formula 1 race. Because I just go to sleep when that's on. Right, don't forget to subscribe and press the like button.